anybody ever said so.
Well, no, they didn't do it because it was the dumbest idea in the history of transportation planning. Here you have these mile-long, 2, 3, 5, 10-mile-long backups there every day, right? And what's the answer? We'll build a new bridge with exactly the same number of lanes because we're insane, you know? I mean, what kind of transportation planner would try and solve a traffic building a bridge with the same number of lanes? You know, when they built 205, it was empty when they built it. It took years to grow into it. That's what transportation planning is. You plan for the future. You don't plan to just waste everybody's money and build something that we have and say, oh, look what I did. You know, these people are dangerous. Mm-hmm. They are destroying our future. And people need to wake up and stop voting for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Gun rights, do you want to, any thoughts on that? I don't want them taken away.
Oh, yeah, well, shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed. I mean, it says that right here in the Second Amendment of our Constitution. I mean, I'm a gun owner myself, and I mean, the Second Amendment was there to defend the First Amendment, in my opinion. And you have people like Jeff Merkley that I'm ultimately running against in the general election that are voting against our gun rights in the UN Small Arms Treaty Amendment that he actually voted for March 23rd, 2013, Senate Amendment 139. He voted against prohibiting the UN Small Arms Treaty. So it's basically like him and 46 other senators sold out our country, sold out our sovereignty. I actually confronted him on it at his Madras Town Hall meeting back in January, and the guy denied it. And he basically lied. And I know what he voted for. I have a record right there. And the guy is not about freedom. He's not about maintaining our sovereignty in our country. And it got to the point for me, I just had to get off the couch, stop watching TV and complaining, get out there, face the guy, keep him accountable, and protect our rights.
Million rounds of ammunition or something.
Oh, that's not the only. It's the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration buying 1 million rounds of ammo. I mean, what do they need with ammo? You know, I mean, come on.
Well, they say it's to keep it away from our hands.
Oh gosh, that's meddling in the freight.
Well, they say it's to train their agents, and that they need, they need a couple thousand rounds per agent, and then they've got and then every agency has its own little army now. You know, the education department has SWAT teams. You know, oh, you might have stolen something in your let's break down your door at 6:30 in the morning with 17 armed men and a tank. You know, because we're the Department of Education and we can. You know, the Social Security Administration, Department of Education, NOAA, National Oceanographic, what is it, NOAA, National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration. They've all got their own private armies now. I mean, they need a lot of bullets for that.
They can justify it however you want. It basically sounds like a big game of these aren't the droids you're looking for. You ever watch Star Wars? Where they do these aren't the droids you're looking up for, move along or something like that. The government's playing right now. These aren't the droids you're looking for. I mean, it's always about misdirection, and we need to get in there. I need to get in there and actually start holding them accountable, including our president. Which, I mean, if he doesn't stop lying to the American people, he needs to be impeached and convicted. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
No argument there. There's problems with people not willing to accept our way of life. Totally.
Well, they call our country the great melting pot. I mean, right now you have little facts around our country that basically are saying, oh, well, I'm so special, you have to respect me. I'm so special, you have to respect me. But the point is, if you're going to be in our country and be an American, you have to follow our laws. And over the border illegally are breaking our laws. I mean, that's they're breaking our laws by breaking and entering into our country.
That's right.
And so I advocate for securing the borders first, enforcing existing laws, and saying no to amnesty. Because you have our president doing backdoor deals like the DREAM Act, backdoor via executive order, or whatever he wants to call it. I mean, that's not right. That's not what our country's found. We have a legislative branch, we have an executive branch, and we have a judicial branch. The president should not be leading by executive feedback. That's dictatorship right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a trivial problem to patrol the border and to stop illegal immigration. You get drones fly back and forth. Oh, there's people coming in here, drive over there, catch them. And the problem is a lack of will. And we have, essentially a system that's been totally subverted in the interest of keeping the borders open. And frankly, I think that the drug laws have a lot to do with that. I think that there are an immense quantity of drugs coming across the border, and that it has fully corrupted our border officials and our border town prosecutors. And now the whole thing is set up, well, we can't close the border because then all these people won't make their drug money. And so it's just a terrible situation. And I'm unusual, I think, among the Republicans in that I'm in favor of a lot more drug legalization than most people, because I see this prohibition as corrupting our government in a very, very serious way. This deal where Obama was, and the ATF was shipping down hundreds of assault rifles to these drug gangs, and that's one of the things that Holder is still concealing. What happened? What were they doing? Fast and Furious.
Yep.
What's going on there? We don't even know. For all we know, we've got elements of our government that are in partnership with these gangs. And it becomes this terrible thing about closing the borders. I will say this in defense of illegal aliens: they are in part responding to a bureaucracy that is totally broken. In terms of the Immigration and Naturalization Service, it is one of the worst bureaucracies in the federal government. You can't talk to anybody, you can't file things properly, you can't get decisions made. People sign up to get their citizenship, they wait 20 years, even if they're qualified. You have a system, so you have this system, this rotten border, the whole thing is rotten. And if we had a free and prosperous economy that wasn't crippled by the federal government, we would be able to let lots of people in, and we get along a lot better. But we have to start by controlling borders and being fair and making people follow the laws. And it's not fair to let a bunch of people run in illegally and then let them cut in front of the line ahead of all the people who've been waiting legally. It's crazy. I'm saying that every nation, and this nation, has sort of a quota of people it can let in, and that it can absorb and maintain its national identity.
Okay.
And I'm saying that one of the problems that we have is that all of the institutions involved are so fatally corrupted and incompetent that itself is limiting the number of people we can assimilate.
They need our laws, and we need to enforce existing laws. Right now we have a legislature and executive that's not enforcing our existing laws. He's not doing his job. And we're not enforcing existing laws.
Okay.
And instead, you have people of 8 that are trying to come up with new laws. Well, enforce the existing ones first. Don't come up with these Dream Act schemes or whatever it is you want to call it. If we enforce existing laws, then the problems go away. But enforcing existing laws is not being done right now. So.
Yeah.
Well, if we had a functioning system, people who came in here and were law-abiding, hardworking people could have citizenship. And we don't. We have a system that's just completely broken. And so, and I understand that people are upset about that. And it's tragic that the answer to this, like every other dumb thing, let's have a 1,000-page bill and pick and choose. We can have no trust in the administration whatsoever on this issue. I mean, what was it, 2 days ago we just discovered they'd released like 36,000 criminals, hundreds of murderers, sex criminals. They released for deportation, and then, who cares if they're murderers and sex criminals? Let's just release them because this is an administration that cares not for law-abiding citizens at all. It's all about identity group politics, and he's happy to turn these murders on it if it'll get him 1/10 of a percentage point of some vote, according to his political advisors. We need Republicans who are willing to stand up in Congress and say, yeah, we'll treat the immigrants fairly, but let's start by building trust by control of the borders. Then we can talk about what to do with the people who are here. Yep. But right now you have no credibility. We can't trust anything you say. We vote 5 times to build a fence. We never build it. Forget it. Prove this about controlling the border, and we'll come and see what we can do about treating people fairly here.
I mean, there is a trust gap right now in our government. There's a credibility gap there.
It's overwhelming.
Congress's approval rating is in the shits. And we just don't trust Congress. I certainly don't trust the president either, because he's breaking the law.
Okay.
But the point is, we don't trust him because they're not being effective. They're passing laws, yes. But our president doing his job to enforce those laws. Instead, he's off on his own little tangents, doing executive fiat and executive action and executive order, whatever he wants to call it, leading like a dictator. And we need to get him to actually start following the law and to get up there and hold them accountable. You know, I mean, I'm not afraid of the liberals. I mean, as indicated in that recent Willamette Week interview, I'm not afraid of the liberals. Okay. You know, I'll call them out. They were writing blah, 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 blah on the pad.
Right.
I'll cut on that.
I wish I had that to show, but it took a great deal of whatever.
But I'm not afraid. We need to stop being afraid. We need to stop walking on eggshells and stop this oversensitivity to political correctness, because it'll be the death of our great nation. Our nation is strong. We're built on strong American character, and we're built on strong American work ethic, and that's what we need to get back to, because the way we're going right now, it's hill, and it's going downhill fast. And all I can do, as I said, get in there, start rolling some heads, start holding people accountable, and get them to actually do their job, instead of just doing the establishment party line stuff that they're doing. And I mean, we need to have someone that's willing to stand up and actually have a pair and actually stand up for their principles. You know?
That lack of a pair is one of Mark's great qualities. Is that he's got a pair, and we've got so many congressmen there, you know, that like this Lois Lerner woman from the IRS, you know, just out there fighting, and she kind of, well, we can't give you the emails for 6 years. And you know, the answer is simple. Okay, we're throwing you in the jail in the basement of the Capitol until we get the records. You know, it's that simple. You know, that's how Congress used to be. They didn't take crap. You know, and now we elect all these milquetoasts who are, oh well, you know, let's send a few letters and wait 6 months, and maybe after 2 years, after everyone forgets about it, we can move on to something else. I mean, forget it. If you've got these creeps coming in and telling Congress, no, we're not going to tell you anything. You know, you're just congressmen. We're bureaucrats. You know, we're on some higher level. Screw that. Throw them in jail. Congress can do it.
Okay, you're right. I still that bothers me about the IRS, because you know what I'm thinking? They haven't done anything. Exactly. If they've done anything, why haven't on the news? Why haven't I heard about it?
Exactly. As I said, it's these aren't the droids you're looking for thing is what they're doing.
Okay.
You know?
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Exactly. I mean, you had the IRS targeting our conservative groups. They're targeting groups based upon a political, you know, and that's not what our country. That's tyranny right there. You want to call a duck a duck? That's tyranny.
Yeah.
And
it's worse.
Exactly. You shouldn't be targeting conservative groups. The NSA shouldn't be spying on us, as James has elaborated on in the past. And as I said, we're on the path going away from freedom. We need to get back to the path of freedom. I mean, our country was founded by God-fearing Christians. And one thing that I've embraced is God in my life. I believe in God. And our founders believed in God. They weren't shy about saying they believe in God. And it's just what I believe in. And I feel that God has a plan for me. He's guiding me on the campaign trail here. And we need to get having morals. Right now you have the moral fabric degrading in our country.
That's right.
We need to get back to being a God-fearing American people that have morals, that have work ethic, that actually want to make our country stronger, instead of hinging off the system or being dependent on the system and the system being corrupt in itself.